We're Hasani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hasani. Glad to have you with me. Wherever you're dialing in from, wherever you are logging in from, we want to know who you are and what city, state, and country you are representing. We always want to stay connected to the community, and we want it to spread. So make sure as you watch this, you take the time to like, share, and subscribe. Let the people know that we're on. We are continuing a conversation we started on yesterday. We were talking about how to end an affair when you're in love with your affair partner. And today we're going to talk about how to fall out of love with your affair partner. Doesn't that make sense? So if you've ended it but still have an emotional attachment and bond, how do you completely disconnect from that? That's one of the things that we talk through and we walk couples through who are looking to restore their relationship, because listen, they were in a relationship with someone else, and oftentimes that relationship lives in the shadows of their primary marital relationship. And so your heart is split. You have feelings and emotions obviously for your spouse, your life partner, but you also have feelings and emotions for that affair partner. And there's got to be a disconnect. There's got to be a breach. There's got to be a severing, if you will. And it's not just a physical one, because I can be physically distant from you, but I can still be emotionally close to you. I can still have you on my heart and on my mind. And that's why we're talking about the difference between being separate and single. Being single means have a singleness of mind, a singleness of heart. You've purged yourself of that affair partner. You've gone through that detox, getting him completely out of your system, that she-tox, getting her completely out of your system, so that you can give all of your heart and your mind and your soul and your body to your life partner, to your spouse. So that's what we're talking about today. If you have questions about this topic, if you're struggling in this space, trying to figure out how you completely detach and give your all to your spouse, this is the show for you. But listen, before we dive in, I want to show you another testimonial from a couple who experienced a last chance weekend, who was caught up in the same things that many of you are watching today for, but they were able to break free and restore their relationship. So watch that, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Gilberto Kennedy. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and as a 20-year veteran, just retired from the military, I've experienced a lot of things. Been through a lot, had to do a lot, and nothing could prepare me for what I had in store here at Couples Academy. I was brought down to my lowest by design, and then I was also brought up as well. And some of the things that took place here, I don't even think words can do the proper service to it. It's something that you definitely have to experience for yourself. But if you're in a position where your marriage is literally on a string, then this is a place where you need to be. There was no hope for my marriage. I was separated from the home, away from my kids. And it really felt like I was, co-parenting from a distance, even though we was only 5 miles away. And being here, one of the first things my wife said to me after day 2 is, "I want you back home." And that was far away from where we were before we got here. So if you truly value the covenant that you have within your household, and you truly want to experience what it means to truly know who you are as an individual, to better know your spouse, then Couple Academy is a place where you need to be.
Hey guys, we're back. That's right. We're talking about how to fall out of love with your affair partner. I think it's an important topic because this is where many people find themselves struggling, because you got to realize that there's an emotional tie and bond that has been established. Now, I'm not going to get into love. You may have loved that person, or you may have thought what you experienced was love, but at the end of the day, love is not the only emotion. The point is there's an emotional attachment. There was an emotional entanglement. And when something is entangled, there's a tie that has to be untied, if you will. And that happens through a particular process. And so one of the things that you have to do if you find yourself in a space where you are emotionally caught up, you have to embrace your emotions. I can't tell you how important this is. Now, understand, there's a grieving process that even you go through, because now you've made the decision to end the affair, but you may be suffering the loss of that relationship. So if that relationship was several months or several years, it comes to an end, right? And you feel some type of way. You may still have feelings for it. And what people try to do is they, like a switch, will try to turn their emotion off. So the day that the relationship is over, you don't think about it, you don't feel anything. And I don't know how realistic that is if you hold to that position. Most people do have some type of emotional residue. But what we try to do is suppress the feeling, not feel the feeling, tuck it away, not deal with it. But what happens is you're attaching yourself to that pain, and the healing process is a much slower process. The releasing process is a much slower process. You getting them out of your mind is a much slower process because they're still attached to you, because you've suppressed it and tucked it away. What you want to do is fully embrace the emotion. So if there is, like, I hear this all the time. Ben posted the question, and he basically said, "Good morning from Tennessee. I will have to listen to the replay. I'm the unfaithful, and the pain of the break is immense." So this is an individual who has been in an affair. He's the offender. The relationship came to an end by a willful decision to do so, but yet he's still craving, yearning, and burning for this affair partner, and has developed a hatred and a contempt for his spouse. And I'm talking about it because you talk about it. And so what we have is a whole bunch of emotions that are displaced, that are going in the wrong direction. There should be more of a love for your spouse. And I won't say a disdain for the affair partner, but there should be no emotion for the affair partner. And on that note, I think this is a good point. See, some people think that the best way to solve it is to now hate the affair partner, to have contempt for the affair partner. And to me, that is just as counterproductive as it would be still being in love with them. I'm going to tell you why. Because as long as you have I've actually counseled people who have said, when I saw her at the Piggly Wiggly, I was enraged and I was pissed and I just wanted to punch her in the eye and walk away. And I'm looking at him in the session, and the wife is looking at him at the session. It's just like, you still feel something for this person. The fact that you have this vitriol just at the thought of the person or the sight of the person means you haven't truly released the person from your system. And if they could still get you all riled up, it means that there's something in you that you haven't let go yet. You should be able to, not that you're looking forward to it, but if you ever did see that affair partner, you should be able to see them and not have any thought or feeling. It was what it was. It's in the past. It no longer exists in the future. But if there's any type of emotion that riles up on the inside of you, it's an indication that there's still more work to do. So there is a grieving process. There is a healing process, and you've got to release those emotions. So you fully embrace the emotion, you go deep into the grief, and then you release it. Because once it's out, once it's gone, now you can get your heart and mind back. Now, statistically, it is said that when you are about 3 to 4 weeks detached from the affair partner, that's communication, that's interaction, that's all forms of correspondence. 3 to 4 weeks, all of a sudden, your mind and your heart, begins to for lack of a better term, stabilize. In essence, you no longer feel what you felt. You're no longer thinking the thoughts that you thought because you've been separated enough to get back to your own sound mind and reasoning and thought process. And so what happens is a lot of times when the affair is over, many people want to maintain the relationship. Well, we could just be friends, you know. We don't have to be inappropriate, but we could still be friends. And by making that decision, you're still tying yourself in a particular way to that person. And what you do is you're setting yourself up for a fall, because once there is this familiarity that you have with the person, it's hard to go back to a normal platonic relationship if you still have conversations and interactions with that person. That's why we have the no contact contract. That's why people relocate from their home. This is why people quit their jobs. This is why people get, fire employees if it's been, within your business. There's a complete severing of that relationship physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And those are the things that you have to do if you truly want to get out of the emotional tie that you have with that particular person. The next thing you got to do is you got to engage in thought replacement, right? Thought replacement. Because many of us, think about this, just as the betrayed spouse struggles with triggers. They're driving down the street. That exit sign reminded me of the exit that you would go. I'm triggered, right? A song comes on the radio. I'm triggered. A smell, I'm triggered. A restaurant, a sign. The trigger could be anything. It could be a date. It could be a holiday. It could be, who knows? But what we don't talk about enough is that oftentimes the unfaithful or the former unfaithful partner is triggered as well. And there's things that happen, like a song on the radio, that remind you of what you were once in, right? It could be anything. So there's an incalculable number of triggers as well. And so much like the betrayed spouse has to, what we call catch and release. So in essence, you are replacing that thought, that negative thought, with another thought. The unfaithful partner, the former unfaithful partner, has to do the same as well. Because when you begin to meditate and marinate in the thought of that affair partner and what you had and what you did, it also helps to keep you tied. So you can be tied with your heart, your emotions, or you could be tied with your mind and your thoughts. And these two things, heart and mind, that attachment, though you're physically separated, keeps you tied to that affair partner, and that feeling of limerence or feeling of love or of infatuation or obsessiveness continues to reside. These are the things that we're talking about in terms of how to overcome the emotional attachment that you have with the affair partner. We're talking about how to fall out of love so that you can redevelop a love with your spouse. So listen, we have a few more points on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. If you have questions or if you have comments about this particular topic, we would love to engage you. Stay right there.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, Go to couplesacademy.org.
Hey guys, we're back. We're talking about how to fall out of love with the affair partner. Thanks for tuning in. I just want to recognize some of the people who are here. So, of course, Ben, thank you for being here. Billy, Miss Jules, Gonzalez, M. Shea, Vashon, Angel, Mary Qua, Marquay. You know who you are, my bad. But for all of you who are tuning in, we appreciate you. And the list goes on. Curtis Grimes, thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, let's get back into the conversation. We're talking about steps of what you can take to overcome this emotional attachment and tie that you have to the affair partner. Now, keep in mind, not all affairs have an emotional tie. Even if it's a one-night stand, even though you may never see that person again, yes, you're bringing all of you into that experience. You're bringing your mind, you're bringing your body, you're bringing your emotions in, but it's a different type of an affair than what we will call an emotional attachment or a long-term affair, okay? So if you've been with someone over a stretch of time and you truly created a bond and a connection with that person, it's going to take a specific process to release those emotional ties with that person. So we're talking about the steps that you need to take. But here's a huge one, and I want you to pay attention to this. You have to remove the pedestal. I can't tell you how important this is, because oftentimes when an affair is over and we begin to think back and we begin to reflect upon who that person was or what we experienced or what we individually felt within ourselves, we can sometimes idolize that person and that relationship, because think about it. Our emotions are split. We have a high level of an emotional intensity for the affair partner. And what happens is, as the emotions increase and rise for the affair partner, they begin to decrease and diminish for the spouse. You see that? It happens just like this. This is why when people are involved in affairs and they're in their emotional throes with the affair partner, there's anger and resentment and arguments and disdain and just a negative tension and energy in the household. It happens just like this. And what happens is, when the affair ends and you slowly begin to unravel emotionally your feelings and connection for your spouse, it goes just like that. So it's hard to be with two people at the same time and give all of you. You can't. You're split, you're fragmented. But what happens is, we begin to create these strongholds in our minds. We begin to idolize the affair partner and the relationship and make it something more than what it actually was. And that's when it becomes dangerous. So now our spouse is no longer competing with a human being in physical form, heart beating. They're now competing with a memory. They're competing with an idealized image that is fixated in your mind. And so now that's something else that you and your spouse have to overcome. And the reality is, if you take the time to really assess that relationship, there was a reason why it ended. There was a reason. Understanding that an affair, much like pornography as an example, is not real. It is fictitious. It is fake. Right? It is manufactured. It is not based upon truth. You never give all of who you are to that affair partner. You just don't. You're giving them a portion of who you are. Your spouse has another portion of who you are. So that selfishness, you're cheating yourself, you're cheating both individuals. It's just a dynamic that doesn't work. And so you've got to remove that affair partner from your pedestal and no longer begin to idolize them, but to see them for who they are, to see it for what it was, and to begin to see yourself while you were in that dark space for who you truly were. See, because at the end of the day, if you go through this process, it will allow you to have clarity of mind. You know, the Bible talks about sound mind and sound reasoning. And oftentimes when you're in the throes of an affair, there is no soundness to your reasoning or to the things that you do. Gonzalez says, yes, wow, strongholds in our minds, an idolized memory in the mind. And so these, and then Angel says fairy tales. That's exactly what it is. It's a fairy tale. And what happens is these thoughts get the best of us, and they play tricks on us. I remember there was a song back in the day, my mind's playing tricks on me, right? Anyway, listen guys, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. We're excited about all the things that are happening in July. Check out this commercial. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we're back. We're talking about how to overcome this love addiction. I remember one of the first television shows, one of the first reality shows I did on TV1 was How to Break a Love. It was called Love Addiction. And we were dealing with how to break these love addictions when you're in these relationships that are destructive to your primary relationship. And so what we walk them through are some of the steps that I'm talking to you about today. But I want to go to the next step because I think it's important, is what we call silent contempt. Silent contempt. And it's really attached to removing the person from the pedestal, because when you have a person on the pedestal, you're seeing them in their most idolized version of themselves. But a silent contempt removes all of the positive perspectives you have about this person, and you begin to attach all the negative ones to them. And it's what it is. It's something that helps you. Not that you should walk out hating or having a disdain for a person, because we just said that's just as bad. But see them for who they really are. Their breath did stink. Their teeth were crooked, right? That there were things about the person that obviously was not good. I'm being playful, but here's the deal. We talk about the dangerous partner profile. Now, if you've watched previous episodes, the dangerous partner profile represents an individual whom you may have an instant attraction for, but they would never make a wise choice as a life partner, because there are obvious deficits in that person that if you were to be paired up with that individual, it just would not work. And so if all you're focusing on, let's just say, is the 20% and not the other 80% that would not work out, then you get caught up in the pedestal thinking. But if you pay attention to the 80% as an example, the stuff that they did not have, the stuff that would not work. And matter of fact, here's a technique that you can go through. Like, play out the scenario. I actually did this with a client once, because the affair had been over for about 2 years, but he still found himself attached. He still found himself occasionally reaching out, or the affair partner reaching out to him. And all it took was one conversation, one back and forth banter, one good laughter, and then boom, caught up in the emotional affairs. And I said, well, he wants to overcome this particular woman and restore a relationship with his wife. So I said, let's play the scenario out. Let's just say right now that the affair partner became your primary partner and you're now divorced. And now it's just you and your affair partner, okay? So now you're in a long-term commitment. You decide to get married. Think about the circumstances you are in with your finances, with your family, with your career. Think about the circumstances she finds herself in. And let's play the scenario out. What would life actually look like? Because oftentimes our imagination and the hopes of something is actually more fanciful than the actual reality, right? So as he began to play this thing out, I said, I want you to journal it. I want you to write a story. I want you to tell me what your day-to-day would be like. And actually him going through that experience helped him to realize that there is no way in the world that he would ever want or could be with this person because it just would not work out. And I think that was able to help him make that emotional disconnect that he had been holding on to for so long. And so this is the problem. This is what makes an affair dangerous. It is a fantasy. Right, you're getting a portion of who that person is. You're not doing life with them. You're not paying bills with them. You're not raising children with them. You're not making major life decisions with them. And upon deeper investigation, I remember him saying, there's no way in the world I could manage finances with her, because when I look at her financial situation, or if I look at some of the habits that she has, or if I look at her philosophies on these particular things. But in an affair, none of that matters, because you don't have to have that type of relationship or journey with the person, because it's just a physical or emotional thing, something to have fun, something to escape to pass the time away. But to live life and to do life with that person, it's a game changer. And so for you, Ben, and for all of you who are watching, I encourage you, if you feel as if you can't break away, that there's a strong emotional tie, that you can't get them out of your mind, go deeper into that thought and feeling and begin to really write down as an exercise what life would be like, right? Based upon who that person is, who you are, and see how it plays itself out. And 9 times out of 10, much like the dangerous partner profile, you will realize that it could never be. And so this is why there is an extremely high percentage of affairs that ultimately become long-term committed relationships. They don't work. 93%. Now, there are those who defy the odds and get the healing and the restoration that they need to get to a better place. But statistically, it does not work in your favor. And so these are the things that you have to keep in mind in order to break the emotional tie that you have with that particular person. All right, we have a couple comments. This is really good for detachment from a toxic relationship altogether. Great content. Very true. Any type of relationship that is toxic, of course, an affair relationship would be the one that we're talking about, but you're absolutely right. That 20% will ultimately leave you bankrupt. You done said something there. It's a fact. And oftentimes we're willing to leave the 80% behind for the 20% that we're longing for. And at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, I don't care who you are paired with. It doesn't matter who your spouse is. There will be some type of deficit in all human relationships, because there's not a single person on the earth that can meet all of your needs. We were not designed to do that. It's too much of a weight and a burden and a responsibility you're putting on a particular person to meet all of your needs. That's why you have other relationships that are healthy. That's why you have family members. That's why you have close friends. That's why you have a community of people who can provide for you what one person alone cannot do. And so what happens is, because we don't have the proper mindset and understanding of that, what we do is we say, I married wrong. I made a mistake. This is not blessed anymore. This is not working. I'm going to go out and find somebody who is 100% of what I need. And then when you realize it, they're not 100%. They have their own issues, their own faults, their own flaws. We have our own emotional baggage. Things aren't perfect on the other side. But what happens is, because you don't have the proper awareness, you begin to seek out in others what can really be fine in your own relationship if you take the time to do it. We talk about the whole idea about the grass is greener on the other side. But when you get closer to that grass, when you get like close up on that grass, you realize, wait, there's defects in this grass too. Let me take care of my own grass in my own garden. Let me take care of harnessing my own relationship, and I can have the greenest grass on the block. These are the things that we're talking about, how to overcome the attachment and the love that you have for the affair partner to begin to restore the love that you have for your own. Now, I'm taking you somewhere. We talked about ending the relationship with the affair partner. Today, we're talking about how to overcome and to get out of love with the affair partner. But next, we're going to talk about how to begin to rebuild love and connection with your spouse. We're going to do that on Monday, because tomorrow is relationship Q&A. That's right. Ask the Experts will be in the building. And so we're excited about that. But until then, guys, we appreciate you, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.